down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Hey, you tuned in to the Savvy Radio Show. This is your host, Steve VanCauwenbergh, your friend, a.k.a. the Savvy Landlord. I don't know what that means, but it's what it is. This show is to give you hope, vision, wisdom, direction, self-reflection. Come on, wisdom, self-reflection. I should be a rapper. Nah, that's not my skill. I don't even know what my skill is. I can tell you what my passion is, and you need to be ready for your own passion. But, you know, I love working with entrepreneurs. I love sharing information. I love growing. My passion is improvement. Kanai every day. So let's go into a really interesting story that has has unfolded over time, which I think is inspiring and interesting, and it may help you and inspire you. And hey, that's what today's show is all about. My drama and inspiration. Oh, get ready. Buckle in. Here we go. So about 3.5 years ago, I joined a gym in Orange Theory, and I met this guy there. It was a dude that was behind the counter, okay? And he was the guy that checks you in. So when you go into Orange Theory, they're like, hey, what treadmill do you want? Where do you want to start? And this guy would check you in. And so I kind of built a relationship with him, and I was like, hey, what's going on, man? And over time, I connected with him. He's a young lad, probably at that time around 22, 23, 24, 25, somewhere around there. And we just, I wouldn't say friends. I mean, I've never hung out with the guy, but I would see him quite often at the gym. And what was interesting, over time, when I get to know someone, I just straight up gangster, what's your goals? What's your dreams? And if you know any of my story, that's how I met my wife, but that's another day. And maybe we should go into that. I don't even know if I've ever mentioned that before, but that was my pickup line for my honeybee. So, and eventually he told me his dream, why he took that job, is to be a trainer. And I was like, bang, bang. You know, my dream is to own an Orange Theory. And that's my dream, right? Bang, bang. More franchises, more things, just to do more, give more, whatever. And it was just interesting. Over time, he was behind the counter, and he would check people in. A year goes by, 2 years go by, and then about the third year, this dude is a trainer. And I was like, wow, it's really interesting to see someone have an idea, a goal, and then achieve it. Okay, but this is not even the point of the story. I know you should be juicy right now. Just know he did it. He had a goal. A lot of people don't even write down their goal. This dude really had a goal to be a trainer, and I was encouraging him. Again, being a trainer, it's like you're trading time for money, right? And at this time, you know, I started, you know, dropping knowledge on him, dropping books on him, gave him my comic book, just planting seeds. And so 3 years clicked by, and I would sign up for this dude's class. It was fire. I mean, I like this dude. I mean, he's always positive, always encouraging, and his music was off the chain in the gym. And so he eventually came to another gym where I work out, and I started seeing him again, and I started talking to him. Now, before this, I told him about Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now, I don't know if he read that book, but, you know, it's interesting when you really introduce someone to the philosophy that you can be successful economically if you want to. It's not that you have to be born into it. It's not that you have to get 10 degrees. I mean, it's a process like me. Just a dude from the Jersey did it, right? But it was interesting that I would see him at the gym. I'll get there early, and we would chat for about 5 minutes. And I'm like, hey, man, what's going on? What's your dream? Well, at this time, his dream was to have an outside hustle business of training dudes or gals or whatever. And he became and he got successful in that. In this 3-year process, he was this counter person that was just checking people in. And then he became a trainer, which is like the greatest thing, I guess, in certain worlds to be a trainer at Orange Theory, whatever. And then he started training people on the side. Now, again, you're trading time for money. You're working a job at Orange Theory, and then when you go home, you got to train some more people to make what? Cash, right? Money. And the money's good. It's oxygen. It makes you survive. But when I talked to him this last time, it changed. And he's like, man, I want to do something else or something. And I'm like, well, what's up? In my mind, I know this history. And I was like, well, first of all, man, how much you get paid? Because I'm just straight to the point. Well, I get paid a minimum of $35 to $75, and I don't get paid in between classes. And I was like, what? Let me get this straight. I started doing the cake. Dude, you're making $12 an hour. Because you got to get 30 minutes there early and 30 minutes out. That's an hour. And you're training for an hour. And you're getting $35 if a class doesn't have reached its capacity or its number. And it's not a dog or a bad thing towards Orange Theory, man. I would love to own one, It's a money-making machine, period. And it works. It's a phenomenal workout. I don't talk about it because some people, I don't know, man. It's incredible. If you're on the fence, if you want to get healthy and fit, this is not the Orange Theory commercial. But what was off the chain and the point of why I put this situation story on the front end, and I guess we're Facebook friends, and he started asking me about money. He started asking me about real estate. He started asking me about entrepreneur. He started, being in entrepreneurship, mentoring. And I was like, and he was listening and he was on fire and he got it. And what was interesting is, like, I told him about, dude, you got, he's like, I want to get in real estate. I was like, yo, pump the brakes. It's not what you think. A lot of people say when you get in real estate, you just need to get your real estate license and cash is just going to rain. That's just not how it works. A lot of people say you should just go to wholesaling and it doesn't cost any. That's just not how it works. See, to be wealthy in this game, to be successful, you can be successful in what is success to you versus somebody else. Someone said 10 units or 10 houses is enough, or a wholesaler that makes $200,000 a year or do 20 rehabs a year and yields $20,000 per rehab. He's making $400,000. That may be successful to him or to her, but to me, that's boo boo. And I know I just lost all my little fans. Whoopie woo. Wealth and financial economics is freedom to go ride your mountain bike whenever you want to get on a plane at any moment, to have residual income, enough income to sustain what your goals and dreams are. A lot of people pick 10 G's a month. That might be enough for you. 50 G's, a lot of my friends think is not enough. Some people want planes. It doesn't matter. What matters is what's fulfilled. But it was off the chain, and I just started coaching this dude in front of Orange Theory, in front of another employee, and just dropping bombs on him. Look, nobody teaches you this stuff. You can't go to college and they're going to say, yo, we're going to teach you how to buy a crib. No, they don't teach you that. Hey, go to college and we're going to teach you how to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, there's classes, philosophy, but really, how can you teach risk? Only way you could teach risk is by doing it. I said, man, you gotta find someone to guide you. And, of course, he lit up and he asked me right there. And I'm humbled, I'm like, yeah, first of all, do I have time? Because I have my goals, I have my dreams, and I have a lot of trails that I want to conquer. I want a lot of activities outside. I can't be sitting in an office making sure that you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that's where I was like, well, I mentioned, your age, around this age, 25, 28, whatever this dude is. I was like, yo, you probably need to read Millionaire Fastlane. He's like, whoa. That's not the book you told me about before. I said, I assumed you already read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And he looked at me. I was like, see, that's the thing. Someone tells you to do something that's wealthy or successful to you, then you need to do it. If they're doing what you want to do, then you need to do it. There's no questions about it. Follow it. My mentor, when some of my friends just hand me books, there's a homeboy to give me a book yesterday. He's like, yo, you need to get this book X about blah, 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 about your potential. I just ordered it. I don't care what it costs. If a successful friend of mine that is successful doing that I admire or do, or doing the income or whatever, I'm just going to do it. And so I just started breaking down. And how all this started was, I had a proof of my new book that's coming out February 17th called Be the Bank, How to Put Your Money to Work in Real Estate. And I had a copy, and I just felt led to give it to this dude. I'm like, the new copies are coming. This is just a proof. I handed it to him, and this is how this whole conversation started. And then I just broke it down. I was like, yo, this is what you should do. Now, I assume that you already read Rich Dad Poor Dad. That teaches you the philosophy of that you are potentially able to be wealthy. Me, ghetto, single mom, brother in a foster home, I did it, right? I'm no different than you. What the difference is I told him, I was like, yo, you need to read. That's it. Don't follow somebody YouTube. Oh, go get your license or buy this course. No, all these books are free at the library. Free. That's it. It's free. It's your time. The level of commitment. If you can't discipline yourself right now to read, you're never going to improve. Readers are leaders. Leaders are readers. Simple. It's not complicated. It's not a 40,000 fortune builders course. It's not your local real estate club, you still going for the last 10 years and you haven't did an acquisition or maybe one or two and you're like still asking the same questions. It doesn't work like that. You're not educated. Simple. I'm not educated. And I'm going to tell you some of my failures today because I wanted to hype this up right now to understand it. This is where you go. This is what you do. But then even though you think like me, I know it all, right? I'm a conceited little punk myself. Man, I'm telling you, I've been humbled this last 2 weeks, humbled with potential partners, humbled with taxes and bookkeeping, humbled with my staff and understanding and miscommunication. So back to my homeboy, I was like, yo, listen, you got to read. It's that simple. If you were my son, I would start off with Rich Dad Poor Dad maybe first. Okay, that would kind of give you the philosophy. But I said, you got to read Be the Bank, and it will change you. It will give you the mechanics. And I'm not trying to promote my book, but here's the situation. I only know this for a fact. There's a dude that I know that I coached 10 years ago. And it's crazy, 10 years ago. I can't believe that I'm about to turn 50. 10 years ago, I was coaching this dude. He had a dream to get off of his day job. He had a cushy day job and he was tired. So he quit. He called me. He said, I want to be in real estate. I said, dude, you don't know. You don't know. And he's like, I'm serious. I was like, okay, we'll meet at 7 o'clock every day. And we did. My homeboy and I met every day at 7. And this dude lived in Yukon at the time, Mustang, and he had to drive 30, 40 minutes. And we grinded it out. Eventually, this dude blew up. He became one of the great real estate realtors. Whoopee-woo, okay? And real estate realtor in my mind is a paycheck-to-paycheck individual. If you don't work, you don't get paid. I don't, whoopee-woo, good, you got a job. You really don't have a job because if you don't work, just like everybody else. What was interesting, when I wrote the book, Be the Bank, I gave my homeboy a copy, the dude I coached 10 years ago. He read the book, and he came to me like the next day, and he was like, it looked like he was all white in his face, like he was a ghost. He said, man, I can do it now. I'm telling you, man, inside I was like, wow. He said, I can do it. I couldn't think I could. I thought I had to do it this way. I thought I had to have this much money. I didn't know you can borrow privately. I didn't know you can leverage this. I didn't know you can leverage someone else's credibility. And it changed me. It gave me a hope that this book that I released is like, I mean, if it can motivate this dude, he was in the game for 19 years being a real estate realtor that has no assets. I mean, I did my brother wrong. I didn't coach him right. When I work with you, you should be buying assets. You should be creating a legacy, financial independence, not making a lot of money as a wholesaler or a realtor, right? it broke me. Like I'm telling you, I was like, wow, I mean, I didn't know that this book, Labor of Pain, writing this book for a year would be drama. Drama for him, it smashed him. He's like, what have I been doing this whole time for these 10 years? I could have been buying assets. I could have been borrowing someone else's money. I could have been putting deals together. I could have been a part of an acquisition with someone else's money, and I could have been a partner. That's what that book delivers, I hope. I hope that it delivers to you if you want to buy it. Hey, it's $10. Whoopee-woo. That $10 could change your world. But I told my homeboy at Orange Theory, I was like, look, man, you read Millionaire Fastlane first because you're young, and it tells you exactly how to do it. It does. It just shows you this is what lane you in. Passive income, the locus of control, the principles of entrepreneur is in MJ DeMarco's book, Millionaire Fastlane, period. And if you only read it once, that's not enough. I'm telling you, it's probably the book that I have read the most. Probably more than a Bible. I'm ashamed to say that to you. But I'm tired. I don't want to be poor no more. I don't want to be broke. My mom died broke. I don't want to be that person. I want to die that I leave a trust to the church that's in the millions. It would be great if it was in the hundreds of millions. That would fulfill me. But it really doesn't matter. That's not my end goal. My end goal is just to live right now. My end goal is to contribute. My end goal right now is to help. That's why we're doing this podcast. That's why you're listening to this deal. I hope you get fired. Up is what I'm saying. Not if maybe from your job. It's time to take a leap of faith. And I can see it in this young dude's eyes. He's like, yep, I'm leaving OTF. I'm going over here. I'm doing this. I want to get in the game. I was like, you can get in at any time. Before you get in the game, you need to read these books. You need to know these books. And you need to write down all your questions. I mean, go buy a 3-ring binder or a notepad and start writing out. Read this book and write this question. And I made it really clean and simple for you. In the Be the Bank, it goes into examples of real life people that I either loan money to or I have borrowed money from and people around the country. If you read that book, the Audible is only 3 hours. If you can't get this, then it's not your game. That's okay. Then go do what you want to do. But you can do it. Now's the time, regardless of waiting for the real estate market. You need to ask yourself, what do you really want out of life? And it's okay. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have, like, my son wants a McLaren. I'm just like, every time he says the word McLaren, I want to my pants. I'm just like, what did you get that from? Probably YouTube, let me tell you. But the point is, you can have a fulfilled life, not worrying about economics, not worrying about what your bill is or the electricity bill I just got for $300. I'm like, this is sinful. When I finally stop being a hustler and just really live off the residual, I'm going to have to pay $300 for an electricity bill. I mean, this is crazy how high things are going. But this doesn't affect you if you are an entrepreneur that has several businesses, that income's rolling in, or assets of real estate. You can do it. If I can do it, I'm telling you, this young buck within 3 years came from you could say a flunky dude behind a counter to the top trainer to a cat that has a list of clients I want him to train, and now he's on the next level. Now he just needs education because he was willing to commit. He willing to write down his goals and his dreams, and he executed those, and now he doesn't know what to do. Man, I'm telling you, I'm honored to be a part of this dude's life. Can't wait to see what this cat looks like in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. Now, it's always slow in the beginning. 3 years seems like a long time. It does. He probably fumbled. He probably messed around with some female. He probably lost some money somewhere. He probably, threw it away, bought some kicks. Like my son just told me the other day, it was awesome. He's like, Dad, I'm not going to buy these Jordans. And I was like, oh, tell me. It just don't make no sense. I was like, there you go. Sometimes it takes longer. It took my son a couple years to realize Those are not the material things that you need. They may make you feel hype, is what he would say. And some people may notice it, but it's not forever fulfilling. For forever fulfilling is making an impact in someone else's world. Or you create a business that sustains for 10 years and you pass it on to somebody else, and they're still 20 years later using the systems and is providing for their family for generations to generations. That's fulfillment. What is your fulfillment? What do you want to do? How do you want to impact this world? Can you do it? Absolutely. All right. That was number one. Man, it's going to be a wildfire here. Number two, man, I'm telling you, I'm in the trenches. I think I was on a vacation for too dang long. And I'm just going to fire these things out for you. First of all, number one, 1031 exchange. I did my first 1031 exchange. I thought I did it right. And I'm telling you, I've been struggling about doing this podcast. First of all, I've been struggling about doing what podcast for when. I have so many lined up. And, hey, the time, and I just want to do it right. I want to give you the best professional content that I could give you. And I get insecure because I don't want to miss a detail, or I don't want to pop off because I just tend to do this, say something that's going to hurt you or affect somebody else. So that's why I struggle with these podcasts. I just want to be straight up with you and just say and maul the situation. But I'm going to go into this 1031. First of all, my first 1031, I was buying this one property. I bought this property. I had never intention to sell it, but we can get into the details. I think I really am going to write out this podcast in detail. And if you want to know more about this one, let me know about this 1031 just dramatic situation that I'm in right now. But I'm just going to cut through I'm going to lay it out real fast, and then what I've learned through the process thus far and what's going to go down next. So I bought this property, never intended to sell it. It was a medical office, bought it. I had some problems with the city. They were just jacking my game up. I was like, wow. So I decided to sell it. Thank goodness for a great broker. He made it happen. I got top dollar. I bought it for $265-ish, somewhere around there. Sold it for $475. Bang. If you do the math, that's roughly $210,000. Now at that time, that was going through. I was in the middle of an acquisition of buying the wedding facility for $1.6 million. So I was like, opportunity. So I got a great reference on a 1031. The title company knew this 1031 company. They were in cahoots. They're the ones that referred me to this 1031 exchange custodial. Again, we probably should break this down in a longer podcast of what a custodial does, what a 1031 is. If you really want to go deep, maybe we should do this on Advanced Investor Alliance because it's commercial. But so I engaged, paid the $1,400, identified the property, had the closing, boom, done. First one done. Identified the purchase that I'm 1031 into. I get to closing. Now, here's the situation. In the parking lot of my acquisition, the two sellers, the partners, were having a conflict, fighting over some flipping laptop. Who gets the laptop, or who just dumb. We're doing $1 million acquisition, $1.6 million. It's like they got $1.3 million. Yeah, no. 1.3 million they got, and they're fighting over like a 10-year-old laptop in the parking lot. I mean, it's just. So I was distracted, and I was like kind of frustrated because you can be that just ignorant about $300. You about to get $1 million in cash. Like, what in the world? But that's people. That just tells you right there who you are. So I'm distracted. I go into the closing. I sign the documents. I cash out because I bought it right. 1.6, 1.1. $1 million. I get $100,000 in cash out. I use this $100,000 to improve the property. Makes sense to the bank. Makes sense to me. Wash my hands. Good. Boom. The seller's happy after they beat each other up over $300 laptop. Come on, y'all. Then I'm good. I'm good. And Christmas rolls around. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't get my exchange funds. I didn't see the 1031 people there. Why wasn't it on the on the closing statement. Now what? So I email them. Oh, then I get just these boo-boo responses like blah, blah, blah. Oh. I mean, no, not even real, genuine, like, I'm sorry. Like, we made a mistake, Mr. VanCauwenbergh. Like, just like it was like, what? And here's, and so finally, a month and a half later, after I had to lawyer up, seriously, my attorney had to call there and say, what the F is going on with this 1031? We got $200,000 in exchange funds misallocated, and you're just gonna just not respond for a couple weeks at a time. Now, again, you know, I could tell you the exact timeline. When I go over, I wrote all this out for the attorney, and I realize this is the point of what I'm learning. Now, as of right now, I have no idea what's going on with this 1030. I don't know where my funds are. I get it finally on a Friday, like last week. Actually, this is where I'm at right now. I get an email. Sign these documents and we'll wire you the money. I was like, whoa. I almost signed them, and then I was like, I was busy at that moment. It was like a Friday afternoon. I was like, pump the brakes. And then they mentioned something about you need to talk to your accountant. Yeah, skippy whippy I am. Because if I would have received those, I didn't sign those documents, and I didn't receive those funds yet, because I would have to pay tax on them. And what is the point of doing a 1031 exchange? It's not to pay taxes. It's to roll the gains into a bigger asset. And that's where I'm at right now. Now, here's the point. Why am I telling you that? Oh, poor VanCauwenbergh. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is I'm slipping. And here's my point. I was trusting someone else, but it's my responsibility. That's where you're at right now. Somebody needs to hear that. Can I get an amen? I need to start preaching, because I fell victim because I thought I was somebody. I thought I was paying professionals, and I was. These are the most professional people. But the point is, it's my responsibility. They all banded me when I was like, yo, I guarantee, like I talked to my accountant at first. She's like, hey, it's going to be about a $24,000 tax burden. What the, what? And whose fault is it? Now I can point the finger. It is, I'm telling you right now, it's the 1031 people. They were sleeping at the wheel. It was the closing company, I guess. They're interacting with 1031. But what I take responsibility. I'm telling you, I'm going to go down fighting. I'm going to lawyer up, because this is ridiculous. But the point is, it's my responsibility, because, you know, I thought I trusted people. I should have just double checked everything before I went to closing. Yeah. And that's where I went wrong. Where I went wrong, I was like, hey, is the 1031 in place? I was more worried about another aspect of this closing, meaning how it was recorded. In the conflict with the seller holding in their hand, I was distracted on their drama, and I wasn't focused on my responsibility as a true investor. Now, I'm telling you, this is going to play out right. I don't need another $20,000 hickey. I got another one. Again, I'm trusting somebody else. Here's another one. I bought this RV. I don't know if I talked about this before, but I bought this awesome RV. It was one of my dreams, a B-class RV. I got this RV. I used it a couple times. I realized this is not what I need to be doing. I don't need to be owning an RV. One, I don't maintain stuff well. I'm not mechanical. I just understand I don't want to be messing with an RV. I'd rather go rent an RV. I need a friend with an RV, really. But I did it. I achieved my dream. I'm happy. No worries. Well, I get this RV, and I realize, man, I needed to get rid of this thing. I need to sell it. This is just not my gig. So I call this place, and they consign it for me. And now, keep in mind, this RV, I bought it at the right time, which they just came out with it, and it was a 2023. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, I'll take a little hickey. It only has got 3,000 miles on it. No big deal. I learned my lesson. I did the calculation. If I lose 25,000, cool. You know, if I lose more, cool. If I lose whatever, cool. I'm down to lose. It was my mistake. Again, responsibility. Now, this is where I went wrong. So I signed it over to this place. I never hear from them. Now, this is one of my responsibilities because I've done this RV consignment thing before, and they did it before, but I sold the RV, and I just thought that's how they did their business. I had an RV back in 2016, 17, somewhere around there in 15, and I used it for about a year. We were done with this. We put it on consignment. We never heard from the people. A couple months later, I called them. They're like, yeah, come pick your money up. I was like, that's whack business, but that's okay. But I sold that mess, and I was on to the next. Again, on to the next. This time, I'm like, I dropped it off, I think October. November rolls around. Hey, Thanksgiving, Christmas rolls around. I mean, it's 60-something days, 70 days, 80 days. I haven't heard a lick. Let me call them up. And the gal was just treating me like a dirtbag. And I was like, wait a minute, hold up. I was like, she never contacted us. And, so I called another RV place, a baller place. Actually, a friend of mine owns it, and I should have went there first. Again, my responsibility. And the dude called me. He's like, bro, they don't even have your RV listed on their website. I was like, no, they did. No way. Sure enough, they had it on the website with the wrong year. They had it on a 2021, and this is a 2023 RV. And guess what? It didn't sell. Nobody's interested. Who's going to pay high price for a 2-year-old 3,000-mile RV? I got stung. And this place barely apologized. I lost 3 months of time. You could say interest if that was my money in there. If I had a loan, payments, I had to pay insurance. 3 months, no interaction. Whose fault is this? My responsibility. It is. What I should have done wrong, maybe I should have blew her up. Maybe I should have checked in. Maybe I should have checked the website. But see, this is, even though that you may think that I'm successful, it's painful. I'm learning. I'm growing. I make mistakes. But here's my lesson again. To reiterate the 1031, I should have followed up. I got to double check people. But Stephen, you say not to micromanage people in your mind. I hear you, but I have a system. You trust, but you verify. And that's the thing I should have done. I should have Googled up how to consign a vehicle. What's the process? Maybe I should have checked the website. Make a list. What's my expectations? When's it? Maybe I should have followed up every 2 weeks. Hey, I'm just checking in. If it was a real stock, if you put $100,000 in a stock, I guarantee you're going to check and see every day. Some people check every day. I think that's ludicrous. That's why I don't do stocks. But if you had a couple $100,000 in some stocks, wouldn't you check it once a month? What did it do? What's the Dow? NASDAQ? What's going on with Apple? Oh, I got to get out of tech stocks. They're laying off all these people. See? Mentality, man. I'm pissed. I'm hot. And here's another one. This is just my week. Bookkeeping. All right. I got an internal bookkeeper, and then I use a bookkeeping company at the same time, which that bookkeeping company is off the chain. It's P3 Accounting. I'm a part owner. I'm a part owner. And they're amazing. Like I'm telling you, talk to real estate investors that use them. I'm one of them. I love it. But guess where I went wrong? My internal bookkeeping was on a different page than I was. And I just realized, regardless if it's a company or my internal bookkeeper, they only operate in what they only know. They're not entrepreneurs. When they see a transaction, they're going to code it to the safest and best way for them if it ever came up in discrepancy. And whose fault is this? My fault. It is my fault for not checking quarterly. How are they recording members' draws? It is my fault that these certain educational purchases, let's just say an audiobook, that weren't recorded. They were recorded as a member's draw. And see, this is where it boils down. I've heard over and over again, because I'm a part of this accounting firm, and my goal is why we even started this accounting firm is to help other entrepreneurs because they don't have time. They're busy. And I realize we always say this, and I just curl inside. Well, we uploaded your financials. Well, we uploaded your financials. And we uploaded your financials. You need to look at them. Look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're busy. We're out hustling, trying to sell a deal, trying to find a deal. But see, that's a damn ass excuse. Reality is, it's your responsibility, Stephen VanCauwenbergh. You need to look at your financials every month. And I was just wondering, how many times have I failed in this area? How many times I've overpaid taxes unnecessarily? I'm over here running my freaking big fat mouth saying, oh man, I'm paying this much in taxes. Yeah, because you're a dumbass. That's what it is. And I'm not trying to be mean on myself. I'm just trying to change my neurons to change this behavior of complacency. If this is my responsibility, it's my empire. It's my taxes. It's my social. It's my signature. But you're trusting it. That's right. You need to trust but verify. And if that individual counting firm, if it's us or your internal accounting firm is not doing it right, either you're not creating a good system. That's me. I'm changing that system right now. I'm on fire. I'm telling you, if you were even near me at all this week coming up, I'm telling you, I'm in the grind creating a system. I had never to do this again. Now, I just gave you a system on the RV. I'm never going to buy an RV again. And I'm telling you, I got a system for the 1031 again. But it's good. It's good. First of all, you need to have a heart of gratitude. I'm just thankful that I can even do what I just said I can do. I'm even thankful that I'm even able to be on this podcast. I'm grateful. But I'm going to learn, and I'm going to fight, and I'm not going to give up. And it's going to be hard out there, man. I'm telling you, when you go to the next level, it's going to be hard. And what is that level? What is that next level for you? Is it 50 units, 20? Is it 10,000 a month? I love coaching this dude right now. This is a new guy. And he deals with a lot of stuff that overwhelms him. He's really frustrated. And when I hear his transactions or his problems, and they're in the thousands, right? And I just told you all three of those transactions I just explained are in the hundreds of thousands, 200,000 and above. And you need to handle those size of transactions if you want to go to that size of lifestyle. Meaning, if you get burned up and pissed off that you lost $2,000 on a contractor, or you had to fire a contractor and you lost $5,000, that's just where you're at. That's just not what it's like at the next level. And I tried to explain this to this homeboy the other day. I was like, look, man, why does the Coca-Cola guy make $13 million a year? The CEO of Coca-Cola makes $13 million, roughly. And the guy that drives the soda around, the truck driver that delivers it to the 7-Eleven, only gets 20. His decisions is, where do I park so I can unload easily or conveniently or not in the way? That's his decision-making skills that mug must make. But the CEO of Coca-Cola, one decision can wipe out hundreds of thousands of jobs or dollars. Not jobs. I don't know how many people work at Coca-Cola. It's a global company. So the CEO, I promise you, he's getting paid more money to make harder decisions. I've talked about this before. Someone needs to hear that today. What decisions are you tripping about and what do they yield? The simplest way to look at it is this. What's the worst case scenario? I'm looking at a new project right now. I already know the worst case scenario is 500. And I have a partner, so that would be 250. What's the worst case scenario if that acquisition didn't work or I had take this loan and I had to pay it back? What's the worst thing you could happen? You get sued? Okay. What's the worst thing that could happen? You pay it back? You get a default? What's the worst thing that could happen? But you can't be jammed up, pissed off, depressed, frustrated, mad. You just got to move on. I'm telling you guys, I just had over $500,000 of mistakes, and I pray that they just work themselves out. Yes, has it been frustrating and nerve-wracking? Sure. Can I give you a list of questions, a list of excuses why I haven't done the podcast? And there's no excuse. I'm growing and learning, and I'm gonna get this. So, what decisions are you making right now? Compare them. Is this really worth it? You know, I just love my homeboy. This is a really good friend of mine, and I'm trying to buy my wife a backpack. And it's expensive as a month. And now, when I'm about to say this, someone might think it's expensive or it might be a deal, but $200 and something, I don't even want to tell you that, $250 for a backpack. And my wife, I'm out here riding a bicycle, a pretty expensive bicycle, and I'm over here nickel and dime my mind over a $250 backpack. And the reason is because of the color. My wife, they only have at REI, they only have this one color, and it's burgundy. My wife wants this blue one. And my wife's going on this trip, and I'm like, dude. And my homeboy said this to me, and I was like, wow, so much wisdom. You would have bought it if you wanted that. You would pay $25 more for that color. Oh, he got me. Why do we think like this? Just make the decision. I think that's where we're at. Someone said the other day, it could be decision fatigue. That's an excuse. The bigger you are, the more influential you are, the leader you are, the people that are following, you're going to make decisions on a moment-by-moment basis. That decision fatigue, I think, is an excuse. And if it's true in your world, you feel fatigued, then take a break, take a nap, but make a decision, good or bad. I've bought that RV. I made the decision. I don't think it was a good decision now, obviously. But is it going to affect my life forever? No. I already took the loss in my mind, and I recouped that loss on another transaction. I just moved on down. Just the zeros are from 50 to 5 or $5. But that's growth. That's next level. That's where you are. Make those decisions. So I was working with my homeboy the other day, and I was like, man, how do you feel when you leave these sessions? He's like, man, I feel great. For about 30 minutes. I said, okay. And so I suggested him go see a counselor because he had some other situations. It's good to go see a counselor. I'm telling you, my life just changed recently. And I go, how do you feel when you go see that counselor? He's like, I only feel good for about 10 minutes. I was like, okay, I got you. I said, you know what the deal is, right? No. He looked at me all like curious and like I got this answer. I said, man, it's what you're feeding your mind. It's what you're feeding your mind. I'm telling you, some negative people in this world, and you got this reprieve for about 10 minutes, and you don't understand how to control it. It's because you're feeding your mind with the wrong stuff. I was like, man, how I do it to get through this $500,000 drama is I'm listening to Brian Tracy like there's no tomorrow. Like I'm telling you, I even bought another book this morning. I read this 30 minutes this morning and I'm just trying to feed my mind. When I get bummed out about this 1031, I feed my mind. I try to call the people that encourage me. Feed my mind. I try to give someone else that's hurting. Feed my mind. So I told my homeboy, I was like, yo, fire it up. Don't go to these certain events. Only hang around certain people and get rid of the people that don't help you at all, period. Sorry, I got to take a break. I got to move on. And you don't need to say anything or justify. I learned something the other day. Don't invite them into your world. Don't. You hear me? I know this is going on. I'm only on the third one. How long am I on this thing? Hold on. 44 minutes, man. We're going to stop right there. That's a long podcast. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I went old school. I just took a pad and paper and just started writing an outline, and I have 8 of them on there. So on the next podcast, I'll break out these other 4 or other 5. Anyway, hopefully you're doing good, man. I'm sorry that if you got offended in any way, that is not my intention. And I'm being genuine, and I'm apologizing. And I know there's some people out there in my circle that I may have offended. Maybe it's a comment you heard from somebody else. That's not true. If I've ever hurt you or offended you, maybe with an off-color comment, maybe it was just the way I delivered that. Maybe it was my body language, and I take full responsibility. And what I ask you to do is just bring it up. Let me know, and I will apologize to your face. If not, no big deal. Just take it as, I'm sorry. Now, you may have to do that to somebody else. There might be somebody in your world that you're frustrated with, you're angry with, whatever. They said the wrong thing, or they didn't reply back to you. They didn't text you back. That happens. Talk to them. Forgive them and move on. Again, this is a Brian Tracy thing. The best thing you can do is just forgive them and move on. It's what it is. It's a biblical principle. Forgive them and move on. God has forgiven you. Remember that. This is your friend in the trenches, mother. Dying it out, grinding it out. Hopefully this was inspired you. If this helps you in any way, let your boy know. I thank you for my homeboy that I prayed with yesterday. You know who you are, and I know you listen to the podcast. Thank you for listening to my heart. Thank you for your support. And let's grow together. Oh, forgot this one thing. Just popped in my mind. February 17th, if you're in Oklahoma City, you want to fly in. I actually had some friends kind of want to fly in. I was like, humbled. But we're having the kick-a party on my book release. This has been the hardest challenge of my life, producing this book, writing this book, interviewing people, producing it, getting an Audible, doing the whole thing. And I'm like, we need to celebrate, period. It's a Friday, 7 o'clock to 9. It's going to be a bunch of people, a bunch of like-minded people, from investors to entrepreneurs to just a great time. Perry Lott's going to come and share his life for about 10 minutes of what it was like to be in prison for 31 years and getting set free. That's my homeboy. I can't wait to hear what he has to say because he drops it hot. And I just would love to see you there. It's going to be for a great cause. The proceeds are going to help literacy here in Oklahoma City in this program called Whiz Kids. So every $15 book is going to go help somebody else. And that's the whole point of this life, right? We need to keep passing it on. We need to make a better place for young ones, old ones, and the next generation. Steve VanCauwenbergh, go buy assets. If you want more information about me and what I do, go to savvyinvestors.com.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter @LandlordBook and always be buying assets.